Wow, I did not see this one coming at all. For those of you who haven't heard about it, it is now currently being reported that Damian Lillard has drawn attention from multiple contending teams and is being monitored in case he requests a trade, per Ian Begley. If Portland fails to make a strong playoff push, many analysts believe that Lillard will be open and explore a potential trade. The Celtics will pursue Leonard and have the intention of forming a big three, kind of having around Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, and Jaylen Brown. Now, I think this is an absolutely cool decision by the Boston Celtics. The real issue I have though is I don't think that Damian Lillard is going to really request a trade from the Portland Trail Blazers, which I kind of see as somewhat of an issue, because I think, yes, loyalty is really cool in the NBA, but how much loyalty can you have to a team when you just never get anywhere? And it almost seems like a fresh start between these, this team and Damian Lillard would actually be a pretty cool thing. We've seen that the Portland Trail Blazers are currently the 5th seed right now, where they have 41 wins and 29 losses. The issue I see here is I think that the furthest they could make is a conference finals. I don't think they're going to go any further than that. And even so, I think that Denver, Clippers, Jazz, and Lakers are all better teams than what they are. I think the Trailblazers are pretty comfortable being maybe the 4th or 5th team right now. Again, you could say Phoenix, but I also feel like the Phoenix inexperience in the playoffs might come to hurt them. I think that the Trailblazers could actually potentially be more stronger and better suited than the playoffs. If you're a Phoenix fan, please don't get angry at me. That's just kind of how I feel. But I feel like if he was to have a fresh start, a team that has a lot of trade assets right now and they're kind of looking to potentially blow up their team is the Boston Celtics. What people don't actually know is that Kemba Walker actually nearly got traded last year. It was reported the Celtics were really keen on trading away Kemba Walker after they had concerns of his knee after the bubble. But apparently teams were pretty convinced that his knee wasn't exactly that great. Of course, he's barely played this season. He's had a lot of injuries. There was a report that they actually offered Kemba Walker to the Cavs for pick 5. Of course, the Cavs actually declined that because they already have a couple of guards. There was also a rumor that they offered him to the Bulls for pick 4. They obviously clearly declined that. He's not worth pick 4 at all. And now Kemba's kind of in a really bad position where it's like the Kevin Love situation. He can barely play because of his injuries, and he's such a huge contract. How are you going to trade him? It's going to be really hard for them to do. But I could see a team like the Portland Trail Blazers actually trading for him, especially if they lose Lillard. They could do a thing with OKC, how OKC blew up the team, brought in Chris Paul and revived his career. I could see a thing where they brought in Kemba and tried to revive his career. The way I see this could potentially happen is that, again, the Celtics, they need a guy like Damian Lillard. They need to really restart this whole team, because literally it kind of seems like they always just have consistent injuries where they have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and then no one else. And now because Jaylen Brown is injured, it kind of seems like it's Jason Tatum and Evan Fournier and no one else. It kind of is the same, thing all over again. They lost to the Cavs at the time of making this video, where it had one of the most bizarre starting fives. It was I don't even know who was their point guard. It was a really weird thing. It does actually look like their point guard was Tremont Waters, who I don't really know much about him. But again, he's not exactly, doesn't seem to be that great. Aaron Neesmith started at shooting guard. Evan Fournier started at small forward, and then Jason Statham started at power forward. And then Tristan Thompson started at center. Really weird team. I could see a lot of things definitely happening. They made a lot of trades on the deadline where they actually gave up really nothing to get Fournier. He'll re-sign back in free agency. I think what they will most likely do is, I think they'll reload, is how I see this happening. I could see them going out and trading players like Grant Williams, etc., who are still young. They'll probably be thrown into this deal. I think they'll go out and get a player like Damian Lillard. I'm not saying it will be Damian Lillard, but let's just say they did go and get Lillard. Because Lillard is, of course, probably most likely the second best point guard in the league. He is the best player on one of the best teams in the West right now. And he's probably, I'd say he's obviously a top 15 player in the league. Whether he's top 10 is definitely up to discussion. But to get a player like that, you obviously have to trade at least 3 to 4 future first round picks. I'd say because he's so loyal, it will definitely be 4 future first round picks. It'd be 4 future first round picks. Kemba Walker, probably a young player like Aaron Nesmith, probably a young player like, of course, Grant Williams, probably a bunch of second round picks, and then probably another young player like Romeo Langford. Could even be nearly 5 first round picks. Actually, yeah, it'd probably be like nearly 5. If James Harden was 8 first round picks and Victor Oladipo, Damian Lillard's probably 5 or so first round picks and a bunch of young players, and of course Kemba Walker. That's how I see it. But again, this would be really good for the Celtics, because yes, getting rid of 5 first round picks and a couple young players is not necessarily great, but a future trio of Jaylen Brown, Damian Lillard, and Jason Tatum, that's too good to, you know, really knock back. I think that they could also, I feel like they will most likely keep Tristan Thompson, especially now that they traded Tyus. They'll most likely keep Fournier as well. And then you've got a really nice small ball starting 5. You'd of course have Damian Lillard at point guard, Damian Lillard at point guard, Evan Fournier at shooting guard, Damian Lillard at small forward, Jaylen Brown, at small forward, Jason Tatum at power forward, and Tristan Thompson at center. And then off the bench, I really think you can go out and sign a lot of, you know, veteran players. There'll definitely be a lot of veteran players out there that would really want to go to the Boston Celtics. You know, those like Kent Bazemore type of guys, I think would be really cool to kind of see them as well. It will be very interesting to see. Of course, that starting 5 will be one of the best in the leagues. It's just, I don't know if Tristan Thompson can, of course, guard the interior by himself. Probably not, so you'd probably have to go out and sign like a guy like JaVale McGee or something in free agency, and you'd probably bring him off the bench for some defense. He would probably look to sign there. You know, he's a veteran that can come to this team with an elite starting 5. Of course, a player like, you know, JaVale McGee, those veteran type players are the players, in my opinion, they should try and get. They would also still have players like Peyton Pritchard, who will still be on the team most likely. And that would Marcus Smart as well would still be there. He'd be his 6th man, and Robert Williams would come off the bench and play, you know, power forward / center. So again, it would be a really nice team. What I could see it looking like is potentially, again, I'll re-say it, Damian Lillard at point guard, Evan Fournier at shooting guard, Jaylen Brown at small forward, Jason Tatum at power forward, Tristan Thompson at center. Off the bench, you could have, of course, JaVale McGee, Peyton Pritchard, maybe Luke Cornett if he comes back, or if they decide to bring him back, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, and maybe some other players who they'll look to go out and get here and there, like a Kent Bazemore type. But yeah, it's just, will, of course, the Trailblazers look to trade Damian Lillard and go for that fresh restart? Because they're kind of not really, you know, moving anywhere at all. It's becoming like a huge issue now at this point, and something really does need to potentially happen. You know, but of course, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, MIRO/VlogCharles, and don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for them will all be in the description down below. But as I was saying, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.